For a Chelsea fan, it's been a painful season to watch. Currently languishing in the bottom half of the Premier League table, Chelsea is 21 points behind the Champions League places with only 4 games remaining. To make matters worse, they're on track for their worst ever points total in the Premier League, having only managed to accumulate 42 points from 34 games. This will also be the first time since 1996 that Chelsea has finished in the bottom half of the table. So what exactly went wrong for Chelsea this season? How did they go from Champions League winners to mid-table mediocrity? We'll be diving into these questions and more, examining what we can learn from this disappointing campaign. But before we get started, we'd like to ask you to please subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us continue to create great content like this. So hit that subscribe button and let's explore the reasons behind Chelsea's struggles this season. Chelsea has been through a bit of a rollercoaster ride lately. In the 2020-21 season, they started with Frank Lampard as their manager and ended it with Thomas Tuchel taking the reins. And now in 22-23, they've gone back to Lampard after beginning the season with Tuchel. It's enough to make your head spin. This whole mess can be traced back to the recent purchase of the team by Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital for a whopping £4.25 billion, which marked the end of the Roman Abramovich era. Abramovich had overseen a period of incredible success for Chelsea, with 21 trophies to their name, including multiple Premier League titles and Champions League victories. However, the last few months of Abramovich's ownership were plagued by controversy due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This led to Chelsea being unable to sign or sell players or offer new contracts, which caused several experienced players to leave the club on free transfers. This left the team struggling with a shortage of players in certain positions and forced them to make some big changes. When Todd Boehly took over as the owner of Chelsea Football Club, he promised that the club would adopt a more patient and long-term approach to hiring managers, in contrast to the previous owner, Roman Abramovich's strategy of firing coaches at the drop of a hat. However, less than a year into Boehly's tenure, the American has already sent 2 permanent managers packing, Thomas Tuchel and Graham Potter, which is more than any season during Abramovich's reign. Out of all the 12 managerial departures in the Premier League this season, the most shocking one was Chelsea's decision to let go of Thomas Tuchel. The German manager had enjoyed tremendous success during his 18-month stint at Stamford Bridge, culminating in a historic Champions League victory in 2021. Despite facing numerous challenges and uncertainties surrounding the club's ownership, Tuchel led the team to a 3rd-place finish in the league and came agonisingly close to winning both the League Cup and FA Cup, only to suffer defeats in penalty shootouts. It's a testament to Tuchel's skill and leadership that he managed to keep the team performing at a high level on the pitch despite the turmoil. Thomas Tuchel's sudden departure from Chelsea Football Club left many fans reeling in shock. He was fired just 6 games into the new season, despite the Blues holding a respectable 5th place in the Premier League table with 10 points from their opening 6 matches, even though they suffered some disappointing defeats to teams like Southampton and Leeds. But since Tuchel's departure, things haven't exactly gone smoothly for Chelsea. In fact, they've only managed to pick up 32 points from their subsequent 28 games, which means that Tuchel was responsible for almost a third of their total points this season. Chelsea's success under Thomas Tuchel was largely attributed to the contribution of their wing-backs, with players like Reece James and Ben Chilwell playing crucial roles in the team's journey to Champions League glory in 2021. Their attacking threat and ability to deliver dangerous crosses made them key providers for the team's strikers. However, injuries have plagued the pair for large parts of the season, leaving the Blues without their important attacking assets. Another key player who's been sorely missed by Chelsea this season is N'Golo Kante. The French midfielder was named PFA Player of the Year during the team's last Premier League title-winning campaign in 2016-17 and was instrumental in their Champions League triumph in 2021, where he was named Man of the Match. However, he's been sidelined for almost the entirety of this season due to injuries. Furthermore, the Blues heavily rely on the leadership of their experienced defender Thiago Silva and have struggled defensively whenever he's been absent from the team due to injuries. So we can say that all of these injury problems have contributed, in part, to Chelsea's struggles at the start of the season. The decision to outsource medical work may have been a misstep by the owners, as the injury problems at Chelsea have only gotten worse. It's true that Paco Biosca and Thierry Laurent, who was let go as medical chief and head physio respectively, didn't perform well last season. In fact, Chelsea had the highest number of injuries in the Premier League with a whopping 97, according to Howden's European Football Injury Index. However, the situation has only escalated since Boehly's choice to bring in a private physiotherapy company to take on some of the medical work. After changing the medical staff, they also decided to change the technical area. Chelsea's decision to bring in Graham Potter from Brighton for £21.5 million in compensation seemed like an intriguing move. The new owners Boehly and Eghbali were determined to develop the team over time and focus on improving young players rather than just chasing results. Potter's calm personality was thought to be a better fit for this new approach. However, the Chelsea fans didn't take to Potter's lack of glamour, and the owner's decisions made his job even harder. Potter may have been onto something when he called it the hardest job in football. The January transfer window saw a wild spending spree that left him with a host of new faces to integrate into the team, while only one player departed. The move of Hakim Ziyech to Paris Saint-Germain collapsed at the last minute, leaving Potter to make sense of it all once the window had closed. Having a large number of talented players at your disposal may seem like a luxury, but it can create a daunting challenge for managers to keep everyone happy when they're not playing. Unfortunately, it seems that not enough consideration was given to the difficulties that Graham Potter would face at Chelsea. Despite the club's big spending in the transfer market, many of the new signings were young and inexperienced, requiring time to adapt to the Premier League. This put enormous pressure on Potter to deliver results quickly, despite the lack of experience and readiness of some of his players. Even the more well-thought-out signings raised questions about their value and fit in the team. The pressure to succeed and the need for immediate results often overshadowed the long-term planning necessary for the development of young players. This short-term approach has led to the departure of promising talents, such as Kevin De Bruyne, Mohamed Salah, and Romelu Lukaku in the past. Success in football requires more than just throwing money at the problem. It takes a carefully planned recruitment model, intelligent investments, and patience to build a successful team. Unfortunately, the lack of patience and foresight from Chelsea's ownership has led to a series of poor decisions that have put pressure on their coaches and ultimately hindered the progress of the club. Moreover, Chelsea's frequent changes in formation and rotation of players during games this season have made it challenging for both the team and manager to establish any fluidity or chemistry on the pitch. At the core of Potter's hiring by Chelsea was his tactical brilliance, and his time at Brighton showcased his ability to adjust systems during matches to bring out the best in his players. However, his use of 6 distinct starting formations in all competitions since September might have led to inconsistency in his tactical approach and could have hindered the development of a clear message to his players about their roles and responsibilities on the pitch. As a result, several of the new recruits are yet to find their footing, and even established players like Kalidou Koulibaly, Raheem Sterling, and Marc Cucurella have struggled to make an impact. To make matters worse, Chelsea's star strikers, Joao Felix and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, have only managed to score a total of 3 goals this season, highlighting the fact that they currently need a proper striker. Watching only Chelsea matches this season would leave you with a very warped perception of how difficult it is to score a goal in professional football. The team has missed sitters, made offside runs, had shots blocked, made bad passes, experienced communication breakdowns, made wrong decisions, and missed runners. Despite being an expensively assembled group of players, they seem to have an endless variety of ways to prevent the ball from finding the back of the net. All of this chaos in Chelsea's attack can't be disconnected from the sweeping changes that have occurred at the club in the last 18 months. The resulting disorientation has affected everyone, both on and off the pitch. While it's true that Potter may have made some tactical errors and was perhaps not the best fit for the job, the root of Chelsea's problems runs much deeper. The club's transfer policy has resulted in a bloated squad with too many players and not enough space in the dressing room. Some players have even had to sit on the floor during meetings and change in a separate area before training. It's no wonder the team has struggled to find any cohesion on the pitch with so much dysfunction behind the scenes. Now, Chelsea's board has the daunting task of convincing their next manager that they're committed to building a collaborative and functional team. The mistakes of the past can't be repeated, and it's up to Boehly and Eghbali to show that they're ready to make the changes necessary to turn things around. It's understandable if people are doubtful. Chelsea, despite spending nearly £600 million on signings since last summer, find themselves in 11th place in the Premier League and facing a difficult situation. There have been multiple misjudgments that started with the firing of Thomas Tuchel last September and have only become more complicated since Potter's departure. On a positive note, the next full-time coach replacing Potter has a low bar to clear when it comes to improving the team's performance. Even a shift from historically bad to underwhelming would be seen as a short-term success. However, in the long run, the new coach will need to find more significant solutions to bring Chelsea back into serious contention for the Premier League and Champions League titles, and the club's owners must take responsibility and re-evaluate their approach. We value your opinion on this topic, so don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comment section. We appreciate you for watching, and if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to our channel for more captivating content in the future.